All right, we are live coming back at you once again. 2/3 of the Coin Vault crew back with Rue. What's going on, buddy? How you doing today, man?
Hey man, chilling. Nice little day in Scottsdale today, as always. And how about you, my friend?
It's actually kind of chilly. It's been unbearably hot here for the last little while, and I think I lost like 20 pounds just in water weight because it's been so hot. But it's kind of cooling today. It's nice. I'm hoping to get a couple of thunderstorms in. You know, there's nothing like sitting out on the front porch with a thunderstorm going. So yeah, I'm feeling good though. I'm seeing a lot of kind of mixed emotions across the space. We're seeing Bitcoin at 65K, but we're seeing a little bit of uncertainty when it comes to the last spaces with ZEBEC and Simon. So we need to have an honest conversation about the pros and cons of the latest updates that we have. What do you think, buddy?
Indeed, let's definitely do it. I think, well, I like to just say this. I like to give kudos to Simon for directly answering the question. He didn't skirt around it. He directly answered the question. And, I was having a little conversation about it. Ghost, shout out to Ghost. Some people were asking, like Ghost was asking what was going on. Some people responded. And one of the things I like to say for sure is like, it always seems like ZEBEC, when they do these spaces, they have a good pulse of what we're talking about in the community as ZEBEC investors. So they do that. And I really like to applaud them and give them some credit for that. Because when Simon has these spaces, it's literally what all the ZEBEC influencers have been talking about within the last week or two. So they definitely pay attention to that, right? And Burns was one of the things that people were talking about. So, kudos to him for addressing that.
Okay, absolutely, man. I agree 100%. You love the transparency aspect of things, right? Because without that, what do you got? You got people making accusations. But what I have found though with Jasmine, for example, and Hara, is that no matter how transparent the CEO of a company is, no matter how many spaces they do, there's always going to be people who say that they're not transparent enough, right?
Right, right,
So yeah.
right. And everybody just wants coin go up. You know what I mean? And I don't think that people are thinking like, okay, design a company that's going to be around for the next 200 years. Now, that's way, way different. That's a way different mode of thinking. Design a company that'll be around for 200 years as opposed to coin go up immediately, right? And I think when I look at ZEBEC and what they want to do with streaming payroll, they're more on the company for 200 years track, right? One of the things I heard from Lehman Baird one time, he said, like, I'm designing a company that's going to be around for the next 100 years. And I was like, oh, wow, that's like, that really puts things in perspective when someone says that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a long-term plan. And that's why we often talk about how when you're into projects like this, for example, like Zebec or Canton or anything like that, you're talking about allowing time for your investment to mature. Too many people get in and they think that this is some sort of get me rich in 6 months and then I'm out kind of thing. And that's just not how it works, right?
Yeah, totally, totally. Now, one of the things I was looking at, and I'll probably write up something on it and post it, was that so Zebec's tokenomics most resemble XRPs because XRP has 100 billion tokens, so does Zebec. Now, when you start to look at what their use case is, I think Zebex is going to be that the coin is used more frequently when we talk about stuff like micropayments and things like that. Well, one of the things I do know, I think XRP has a burn rate of 0.0001. So it's like point and like 3 or 4 zeros and one.
Yeah, like a thousandth of a cent or something like that.
Right. Which for Zebek, maybe that works. I don't know. Like, I'm not a math major. I'm not an economist, but I know that at one point in time they had it where one ZBCN was burnt per transaction, and that's definitely not going to work. As we were talking about last night, right? If you think about there are 8 billion people on the planet, and let's just say best case scenario, or not best case, but let's say that ZEBEC captured like 25% of everybody in the world with streaming payroll. Well, that's 2 billion people. If you were burning a ZBCN per transaction, like you'd run out of tokens in like so quick. You run out of tokens in like a couple months. So that wouldn't be feasible to burn one ZBCN per transaction. And I would think too, with micropayments and all of these agentic AI that they plan on doing with Treasury, that even a fourth, like whatever we said XRP's burn rate was, like 0.00001, might be too much too. So I'm not sure what the solution is, but I know that the past solutions were not a good solution. So I don't know. So Simon did say, okay, that's one of the things we'll look at towards the end of the year. And I believe him. He's everything he's said so far has been, he's delivered on that. So
Yeah, I agree. Chris says, "Hey, Rob and Rue, did you see the routers report on Stripe buying PayPal? ZEBEC positive ramifications?"
Interesting. I did not see that, but that would be very, very interesting if that's true. That would give Stripe its own built-in stablecoin with PayPal USD. We already know Stripe helped with the MPP, the Machine Payments Protocol, in which with that protocol it uses X402, and you can use regular like debit cards with that protocol. So this would be absolutely huge. And Stripe already has like, I think, trillions in their pipeline already just by being Stripe. So, oh my goodness, that would be monumental. That would be monumental.
So what I have here is why this is mostly good for ZBCN. Stripe becomes a payments monster. Stripe plus PayPal would create a massive combined entity with enormous reach. PayPal alone has 439 million active accounts. ZEBEC is already plugged into Stripe's ecosystem with via Privy. A strong Stripe equals bigger platform for ZEBEC to scale its real-time payroll and payouts. So, absolutely.
Yeah, that seems amazing to me. I frequently use both platforms. Like it would be very amazing, and that would definitely give Stripe its own like kind of regulated stablecoin. That would be really interesting. That would be really interesting.
Yeah, positive reason number two would be that it accelerates ZEBEC's core thesis. So ZEBEC's whole value proposition is building crypto and stable coins with real world payments. Stripe acquiring PayPal, which already has its PYUSD, like you said, pushes mainstream adoption of stablecoin payments. ZEBEC is positioned as an on-chain real-time layer on top of this.
As far as I know, I think PayPal also owns Venmo. So that would be that would just be a really dope deal. Like, oh man, that would be something.
Yeah. Reason number three, more legitimacy in enterprise adoption. Being tied to a Stripe-backed ecosystem makes it easier for ZEBEC to win big enterprise clients for payroll. The integration already gives frictionless wallets plus compliance that traditional companies expect. We've talked about how important credibility is, and the more big companies and stuff like that, like Stripe, that ZEBEC is able to work with, the more legitimacy, the more credibility equals more big institutional partners and adoption.
Indeed, indeed.
Chain reaction. Snowball down a hill. Potential volume and token utility boost. I think you kind of touched on this. More payment volume flowing through Stripe's network, now supercharged by PayPal, could indirectly increase the usage of ZEBEC's tools, and by extension, demand and utility for the ZBCN token in their ecosystem. Volume, baby. And then number five, positive market sentiment. Crypto projects connected to major TradFi moves often see attention and inflows. ZEBEC's existing Stripe partnership puts it in a good spot for narrative momentum.
Now, it'd be very interesting to see what happens to the stock. I'm looking that up right now. They're saying that PayPal stock is soared to 60 50, right? So there's an 11 in there if you add those up for people who love numbers, right? Like me, if you know, you know. And Stripe's not publicly traded at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see here how that continues to affect until the deal's actually finalized, if it gets finalized, PayPal stock. So that'll be something to watch as well there.
Yeah. Let's get into a couple of comments here. I don't want to fall behind in the chat. Myrdad says Rue reps Arizona hard. The funny thing is he lives in Alaska.
Yeah, I mean, I rep Arizona a bit, like, because that's where I currently reside. But I was born in Detroit, so Detroit till I die. Like Detroit versus everybody. That's
Detroit,
me
what?
for real. Yeah, exactly.
Trick.
Exactly. You know what's up. You know what's up. So yeah, like Detroit's me in my heart.
Longview in the house, guys. Longview Compute says Rue and Rob bringing the heat. Yes.
What up, Longview? What's up, Scott? Thanks for being in the house, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah, big day for Canton today as well, eh?
Indeed. And nice to see the tokenization thing happening. Let's see how this goes, because gradually, if they move towards the whole production level in October, maybe we see a whole price creep all the way through till October. Be interesting to see here. But with this tokenization, in comes the age of agentic AI to me. This is just like the precursor of setting everything up for tokenized treasuries. Because once
you've been saying that for how long too? You've been on top of that.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate the acknowledgement there. Like, and I think this just bodes well for ZEBEC with what they're doing with treasuries, Ripple, what they're doing with treasuries, and of course Canton and what they're doing with treasuries. A little slept on nugget. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. I'm going to pull up the information first, and then I'll share the screen. ZEBEC followed recently. They followed NTT Data. NTT Data, they have their sister company, or their parent company, NTT, has a Canton validator. Okay. So I think we hear more news about Canton and ZEBEC coming up here. Definitely would love to have that conversation with you, Longview, about that. But let me share the screen here. Okay, just take me 10 more minutes to do that. Just hold on here.
I didn't want to say.
Let's see here. So if we look at following, so NTT Data. And if you guys go check out here, and I'll show you here. I'll bring it up in my bookmarks here. Canton and others have some relations with NTT Digital, which is a sister company, like I said, of NTT Data. NTT Digital, they're validators both with Canton and Theta. Okay, so let me show
Theta.
you. So here's NTT doing something with XDC. Okay. NTT, that's the parent company there. And then here we have someone here. Shout out to Crypto Man. He's saying here that they follow each other, and we just showed you that. But then we have here Theta, Imperial College of London as our first European university partner, NTT Digital as a global validator. Okay. And then here, that's again with Theta. But if we go down here.
I'm impressed that Theta's making some moves here because they kind of were very quiet in the 2025 cycle, and I think they could be a sneaky comeback project. I do.
Yeah, indeed, because Theta, what they're doing resembles a lot what Junction is doing, and Theta started earlier at it. And it's not like I don't think those two need to be competitors because they're two different areas of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like really okay to
Well,
to
there's
dominate in the areas of the world that they are in, right?
there's nothing wrong with competition. I mean, too many people in the crypto space feel like there can only be like for we'll just use Theta and Junction as an example here in terms of GPU processing power, right? Um, People tend to get into this mindset where it's like, well, no, there can only be one company, and it's like, bro, the world is big, and there's a lot of data out there that needs to be stored. It's there's more than enough money out there and people and data and everything for both of these companies to thrive. It's like McDonald's and Burger King, man, right? They're both doing just fine.
Indeed, there. Like, exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself, guy. Yeah, that's it. And so it's nice to see also too, and that's definitely being in need with as AI expands. AI compute is definitely a problem, and for these universities and different other places, they don't need the big computing power of a Claude or Open AI. They just need it to be cheaper for what they're doing. And Junction and what Theta does, they support that. So
Mhm.
so we
Yeah.
have here two here from September 12th, 2025, Canton and NTT Digital. Okay. As NTT Digital is a validator for Canton. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see here what goes on with ZEBEC here and NTT data. Okay. So let's kind of take a look into NTT data. Interesting symbol here. I forget what that symbol is called, but of course it's that crescent moon with something over top of it. But very interesting there. I swear I remember this symbol in like Star Wars or something like that. But anyway, um okay, India. By combining NTT data expertise with Amazon Connect, organizations can create smarter, more personalized experiences that drive stronger engagement with every touch point. Let's see here. Kind of interesting if we can find here some references to their sister company. If I can spell. Okay, we might not find those, but yeah, I want to do some more digging into this and see what comes of this. But I thought it's something you guys should know, especially since we had long view in the house here. I think there may possibly be a Canton connection with this. I'm curious to know what he might think about that. But yeah, let me take that back down.
Yeah. So kind of going back to I just want to kind of pivot back over to ZEBEC here because we do have limited time today, and we did want to address these spaces from last night. We did a little bit more talking about it. Now uh, we were like last night discussing a little bit blah blah blah. We were going to cover the spaces today, but as it turned out, Simon's not actually on that spaces that took place today. So we figured it's more of like a Zach Rector and iTrustCapital kind of a spaces where they're having a conversation, which is fine. So we figured instead we would kind of talk a little bit more about um, the whole burn mechanism and its existence or its non-existence, stuff like that. Now, one of the emotions out there is that maybe they're lying about the community voting for no burn to have no burn mechanism because it doesn't make sense. And I kind of touched on that a little bit last night. And here's the thing of it, guys, is that um, usually when you do a little bit more digging into something, and this is why research always pays off, right? I felt the same way when I saw a vote. I mentioned it last night on XCN's on Onyx Coin's proposal, right? And I was like, that doesn't make any sense when it came to lowering the yield. But when I did some research into the proposal and the reasoning behind it, all of a sudden I understood, right? I was like, now it makes sense. So never just react and just be like, no, the CEO's lying, right? Because it doesn't make sense. Well, it can't not make sense if you haven't done your due diligence to actually figure out what the proposal was in the first place, because you don't have all the pieces you can't put a puzzle together missing 2/3 of the puzzle pieces and then go, this puzzle's a scam, right? you
Right.
need all the puzzle pieces, right? So
Right. So one of the things I found yesterday was it was pretty close to the time where they did the token conversion, right? Let me share the screen here again. So they did the token conversion here in April 9th to May 10th of 2024. And then here they had their proposal. You want to bring that one up, Rob, or I can? I have it as well.
Yeah, you can bring it up. I have it, but go ahead. You're sharing your screen already, so.
Okay, and then they did the proposal a little bit before that. So it was around the time that they changed the tokenomics, right? So it makes sense to me that um, you know, they would want to do something different than what they were doing with the burn, which here after that, they implemented the buyback program, which was in September 28th, 2024. So again, this all kind of happened around the time that they did the conversion. Now there's ZBCN. Now they're doing the buyback program instead of the burn. And that makes a lot of sense. And like I was saying, kind of with the math, the quick math, it doesn't make sense for them to burn one token per transaction. Where they're headed with their program, with their super app, because then they would chuck through tokens really, really quickly, and there will be no ZBCN. Like there'll be like if we want them to be a 100-year company, that would not work either. So I don't know what the answer is, but I know it's not as easy as just burning one ZBCN per transaction. So I leave it to Simon and quants, math, like economists, whatever ZBCN has on their team to figure out the math of where they project ZBCN and the super app to be in the future to figure out what's necessary with burn. Because otherwise, I think what do we do something like Canton and have a burn mint equilibrium? That will now mean that you have to change the tokenomics for a third time. And you make it infinite. And I don't know that we want that either. So yeah.
Oh, that would be yeah, no, they would get accused of all kinds of stuff if they did that.
Right. So I don't know the answer there. I really don't know the answer there, but I know it's not burning one ZBCN per transaction. And Simon did address it. So I don't know. I don't know where the community wants to go from here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Is that we The other thing about it is the buybacks. We discussed this kind of off camera, and so the question's being asked, well, what happens to the coins that get bought back, right? The truth of the matter is this, guys. Right now, there is no 100% solid answer to that question. We know that they get taken. All we know is that Simon said that those coins get removed from circulation. We don't know if that means they get removed permanently, temporarily. We can't give a definite answer on that, right? So we do need a little bit more clarification on that. He probably shouldn't think of it, right? To be honest with you, when he was answering the question. So I'm sure it will get brought up to him eventually here. But so that's long. And we tell you this not because we're bearish on the project or anything like that. We tell you this because we always give you both sides of the coin. We're always going to be 100% honest with you guys on both sides of it. We're not just going to say, oh, yeah, fantastic, absolutely, nothing, no concerns or anything. Not that this is a concern of mine anyway, personally, but that doesn't mean I'm going to hide that information from you either, right?
Right. So we shall see where it goes from here. And yeah, we shall see. I'm really bullish on the future of what they're setting up. This follow of NTT data has me very intrigued. Further dealings with Canton has me intrigued. Like, I feel like we're just on the precipice of what can be for blockchain, what can be for crypto, especially with all the agentic AI stuff that is happening lately. I showed you guys in a different show where Robinhood said, they broke a Guinness World Record by having the most paid transactions in 3 minutes from an agent, right? From an agentic AI agent. So I think this is our future, right? Where when you have agents for every treasury, when you have agents for every wallet, I think that's when the real fun starts. And I don't think that that's really far away in our future, right? Where we realize the complete and total fruition of that, right? No later than 2030, in my opinion, but like it's very, very close.
Scott's being a smart ass in the chat.
What did he say?
What I'm hearing is stop buying ZBCN. He's being sarcastic. Yes, have to identify the risks. Absolutely. Way to me to head on, boys. Hey, absolutely, brother. That's why birds of a feather, man. That's why we all work together so well. You included, brother.
Indeed.
Canton in 402. Let's go.
Whoop, whoop.
Absolutely. King Pound says, to me, I think they're staking the buyback for future revenue. And that's entirely possible, right? We did discuss that a little bit last night. For all we know, they're locking those coins up and generating revenue from it. I mean, Coinbase does it with their stable coins. It's not unheard of, right?
Indeed. I agree with you guys.
Yeah, so who knows? But that's basically the long and short of it, guys. All in all, for me personally, am I bearish or am I bullish? Well, it hasn't rattled my degree of bullishness or how I see the project in any way, shape, or form at the end of the day, to be honest with you. It hasn't really. I mean, the tokenomics on it are already 100% of the supply is already in circulation. It's not like they're not in circulation. There's like only 20% circulation. For me, there's none of that stuff. ZEBEC's going to have a monster run, I believe, this cycle. As they continue to develop, they continue with new partnerships. And Simon even said in the spaces, look out in the next, what do you say, the next 2 weeks or so?
Yes.
Look out for more announcements as well.
Yes. And that's a great point, Rob. It's like, it's not some coin where all the coins aren't distributed. It's all distributed. Like, so there's not really a chance of dumping. There's less chance of dumping with every coin being distributed. And when I look at the super app and the many ways that they can have fees come in to the project, that's what's really intriguing to me. Like, the moment you get paid in your super app, ZEBEC's basically in charge of where your money goes. If you want to do remittance payments and you have a fee for that, that's there. If you want to do investing and whatever investing avenue they give you, that's there. If you want to go and, do something like an Amazon or something like that, maybe there's a gift card or a certain percentage off type of thing, that's there. Um, your taxes, that's an avenue, that's a lane. Like the moment you have your money paid to you, there's so many lanes that ZEBEC can use and have uh, to give value to the token. I'm very thrilled as a holder in anticipation with how they do that, because I'm sure they've had a plan. They've delivered on a plan so far. We got the super app on Android, iPhone, and desktop. We have partnerships with Ripple, Stellar, Canton, and others. World Liberty Financial. I don't know. I'm excited for the future. Just me
Yeah,
personally.
me too, man. Can't make me bearish. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I feel like similar to how I did with XRP, like when I held it for 7 years, when I first was buying it and stuff like that. And I'll probably honestly do the same thing with a few million. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna hold my entire bag of ZBCN for 7 or 8 years like I did XRP. I'll probably only hold somewhere between 3 to 5 million in a self custody wallet somewhere and forget I have it for a while. But everything else I'm gonna sell and take profits on. But that's kind of my full transparency.
Yeah,
So
like this one thing that this conversation brought to mind to me. Like I know, like a lot of people would say ZBCN's tokenomics are better than XRP's, and it really made me consider and think about that. Like, okay, just like the conversation I just had with all the fees that they can start charging, and Simon also mentioned this in the last spaces, by the way. Definitely check it out. Like all the things that they can do with the super app and charge fees and different things like that to bring value to the token. In a lot of ways, maybe it is better than XRP. And that's like kind of hard to like as an XRP, I'm also an XRP holder. It's kind of hard for me to say that, but it might be true. It really might honestly be true.
yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Rue and I both have different podcasts we have to get over to. We're both put in a lot of work today, guys, and plus we'll both
Indeed.
probably be live on our channels later tonight as well. I think so, anyways. But
Yeah, I'll be live to the Patreon. I got some really interesting things to say about X402. Definitely check out both of our Patreons if you haven't already, guys.
yep, absolutely. Patreon links are down below. I do have a new gem I will be dropping over there this afternoon as well, so you're going to want to check that out sometime after my podcast. So we will see you guys later tonight. God bless.
Peace.